Hello, football fans. Welcome to the very first episode of Football Pundit on YouTube. If you're passionate about football as I am, you are in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. In today's episode of we have the Premier League back and we are going to discuss some of the hottest topics that are around Premier League. The first being the English Premier League's kickoff where Manchester United host Fulham at Old Trafford, the new ball introduced in the Premier League, the Premier League rule changes, the transfer between different clubs, and the exciting the PFA Player of the Year, where I will look on to Martin Odegaard. So grab your favorite drink, sit back, and let's get started. So after 90 days of wait, the Premier League is back, and the Premier League kicks off with Manchester United hosting Fulham at Old Trafford. It will be an exciting match as Manchester United will showcase their new signings and will take on Fulham. The other matches for Arsenal, where Arsenal take on Wolves at Emirates, it is on Saturday, and Ipswich Town hosting Liverpool is also on Saturday. The most exciting fixture of all for the first blockbuster match is between Chelsea, where they host Man City, the reigning champions, at Stamford Bridge. Now let's look at the new ball that comes in this Premier League season of 24-25. The ball is again supplied by the official ball sponsor for Premier League, which is Nike. This is the 20th season that they are doing it. And this time the name of the ball is Nike Flight Ball. Let's look into it. The Nike Flight Ball will be used for the first time where Manchester United host Fulham. The ball is inspired from the graphic elements from the previous iterations of the Premier League ball, and it has aerosculpt technology. But to give you the crux of the story, I think this ball will have a better flight, but we'll get to see that more about it. But the ball does look good. It has the official match ball of the Premier League. With the new Premier League season 2024-2025, there are some major rule changes that every football fan must be aware about. Let's look right into those. So the first being, now there are 5 substitutes instead of 3. So initially, like in the previous years, every team was allowed 3 substitutions warm up at a particular point in time. Now, since all the Premier League clubs can make 5 substitutions, the Premier League Association have thought that they are going to allow 5 substitutes warming up at the same time. The second one is multi-ball system in flow. Now, in previous times, like there used to be one Premier League ball. Now what they have done is they have included 15 balls to be placed on the cone. Now, if you remember from the last time, the ball boys were not supposed to give the ball directly to a player. They were supposed to put the ball back onto the cone where the player will go to the nearest cone that is possible and then pick the ball from them. But now there is a slight twist in this where for the outfield, it will remain the same, where the ball boy will keep the ball back at the cone, and any player who is going to take a throw in will have to go to the nearest cone which has the ball and pick it and then throw it. But there is some slight modification with how it will affect with the goal kicks. The ball boys are now allowed to place or hand over the ball directly to the goalkeepers in order for them to have a quicker goal kick. So this is one of the other changes that has been there. Now, added time adjustment. Now, last season there were some crazy amount of times that were being added, and we used to see a lot of late night drama in the extra time added. Now this season that would be adjusted, and it will be a bit different this time, where they will try to calculate all the things that will affect the added time and make sure that the correct added time is added. Now, let's take one for an example. When a goal goes in, time will be added on if there is more than 30 seconds between the goal and the restart. Now comes the team news. So in the previous year in the Premier League, every team, they used to submit their lineup 60 minutes before the actual kickoff. So there was a 60-minute of period where the Premier League clubs will send out their lineup of starting 11 along with the substitutes that they have, and it usually used to come at an hour mark. But now that has changed, and the Premier League Association have asked them that this should be increased from 60 minutes to 75 minutes. So in about 75 minutes, that is 1 hour 15 minutes of time, every Premier League needs to submit their lineup for the starting 11 and for the substitute that they will be placing on the bench. Let's look at the semi-automated offside. Now, with semi-automated offsides, we have already seen a glimpse of this in the Euro, but there is a bit of catch here where this will not be applicable at the start of the Premier League. It will be applicable only after the first international break. So they are still implementing this throughout the Premier League clubs. So it is not ready as we speak, but this will surely be ready as we hit the first international break, and after that we will surely see the semi-automated offsides rules. Now let us see if there are anything else. No, I think that's it. So I think the most interesting one here is the semi-automated offside. I am particularly looking more into it, where it will save lot of time for us, where we see lot of decisions in terms of VAR, in terms of offside. It takes a lot of time, but here, as soon as the player touches, the referee will be automatically notified if the player who touched the ball. So for example, if I have the ball, somebody passed me the ball, if I am in an offside position or not, it used to take the decisions from VAR, where they will check, they will draw the lines, and we all know how that drawing the lines have gone over the years. But this will be where if the player is already in offside position, the referee will be informed quickly, and then he can take a call accordingly. Apart from this, I feel the multi-ball system is good, and there was a much needed change in the added time adjustments, because we did see a lot of time added during the last season. Some of those times and in some of those games, there were too much late drama, which could have affected a lot of teams, especially I would say for Arsenal as well. It affected some of the matches for us. In some of the matches, it did get us over the line, but nevertheless, it will be the same for all the Premier League, and I will really be happy where you adjust it accordingly and not add some crazy amount of times like 10 minutes, 12 minutes as an extra time. Now let's look at the latest transfers that the Premier League clubs have made. I think Manchester United stand tall in terms of transfers, with Liverpool being at the lowest end. So if we see Manchester United here, they have signed Lenny Yoro for the highest bid, which is 62 million euro. The other one is Delit, then you have Zerki, and then you have Mazraoui. These are all with Delit and Mazraoui, both of them coming from Bayern Munich. Zerki has come from Bologna, and Euro from Lille. Now, unfortunately, Euro did have a setback with injury, and he might not be able for at least a couple of months, to be honest. Delit and Mazraoui were just signed last week, so I'm not sure if they will be playing on the first game for Manchester United, but let's see, we cannot be so sure. The other one for Arsenal, unfortunately, there are a lot of gossips, but there is only one concrete signing that they have made, which is of Calafiori. Now, Calafiori did come as a substitute in the Emirates Cup, and he looks impressive. In the Euro, he looked impressive, but let's see what really happens and how he is positioned in the Arsenal defense line. But he is impressive, to be honest. The other one that we have to talk about is Manchester City. Now, the biggest outgoing for Manchester City is that Julian Alvarez has gone for a record fee of 75 million euro. He joins Atletico Madrid. In terms of incoming, they only have Savinho, which again featured in the Community Shield. As we saw, he was a substitute there. In terms of Liverpool, unfortunately, they haven't made any signing, and this might affect them in terms of their position in the Premier League table. They have a new manager, and having a couple of new signings will surely help them. But let's see, their transfer window is still on, and there is still time to do some business. In terms of, so if you see here, Liverpool don't have any signings at all. In fact, there was one young player, Carvalho, which looked impressive in the pre-seasons, but they have sold it to Brentford for 23 million euro. So he's not there anymore. In terms of the other major transfers, let's see if there are. So one of the major transfer, like again, all the transfers news is hijacked by Chelsea. Every player that you see and you feel like, okay, maybe my club is going to sign this player, but then it just Chelsea come and sweep them away. So, but one of the major players that they signed this season was Pedro Neto. Now, Arsenal were heavily linked with Pedro Neto for quite some time, even this season and even the previous season. And we wanted to have a backup for Saka. We know that Saka plays like throughout the season, every game 90 minutes. So it would be beneficial for Arsenal to have signed Pedro Neto, but again, that's not here. So Pedro Neto has signed for Chelsea from Wolves for 60 million euro. The other, they are also linked with Osimhen. Now I will be absolutely amazed if they land Osimhen as well, because I really wanted Arsenal to go and get Osimhen, but because Arsenal do need a centre forward, they need a proper number 9 who can be clinical in front of the goal. They don't have that. Even though Kai Havertz has been good, Gabriel Jesus still needs to prove, but he is good, and Nketiah is still like in my respect an average striker. But we need a proper number 9 who can at least convert 3-4 chances out of 5. But unfortunately, our players right now, they misfire a lot, and a proper number 9 will really help us. Now, if it is Osimhen, I will be absolutely delighted. Now, let's have a look at the Premier League results for the last year, and let's give our predictions. The last year, Arsenal really pushed Manchester City all the way, and if it was not for those unfortunate Fulham defeat and Aston Villa defeat at home, I think Arsenal would have just got over the line and got the title to themselves. But unfortunately, that was not to be, and Manchester City did take their 4th Premier League title in a row, with Arsenal just finishing 2 points below them with 89 points, their highest point ever in a Premier League. So credit to Mikel Arteta for that, but he still needs to get some trophies for Arsenal. That is much needed. We have a wonderful squad with wonderful energy, but we need to start delivering. We need to get some trophies. Now, in terms of my predictions, Manchester United this season do look strong with some of the signings, even though they didn't had a very good season last year. They finished 8th, and with them winning the FA Cup, they qualified for the Europa League spot. So, but this season they have got a couple of new players. Even if you remember, Manchester United last season were plagued by injuries as well, so you need to consider those as well. But this season they do look good in terms of signing new players. They are still linked with a couple of players, and the transfer market is still on, so they can get more. And so I really think Manchester United will come up the table. In terms of Chelsea, they have signed a lot of players, but it is very difficult to guess. They also have a new manager in place. So let's see what happens with Chelsea. But I'm not very positive in terms of Chelsea performing well in the Premier League this season. Tottenham Hotspur do look good. They have signed a couple of players, like at least Solanke. And Solanke is a proper number 9 who will definitely score goals. He might not get the numbers of Harry Kane's, but definitely he will supply the much needed effort required in Tottenham. Richarlison has not been fighting for them, so I think Solanke is a very good signing for them. Aston Villa, I still think like under Unai, they have done exceptional qualifying for the Champions League spot, and I think this season they will be strong as well. They do miss Douglas Lewis, but I think the squad still looks good and still ready to compete. With Liverpool, I am not so sure. Liverpool, they also have a new manager, but they haven't made any signing, and they definitely need a couple of additions to their squad in order to uplift the team and challenge for the title. So my predictions for this year would be, if Arsenal do get a proper number 9, they are very much in for a Premier League title. I think the rest of the team is all set. The only thing missing for them is a proper number 9. It can be Osimhen, it can be anybody else, it can be Tony, but they need that number 9 for sure. So being an Arsenal fan, I would like to go with Arsenal winning the Premier League this season. So my Premier League predictions for this season will be Arsenal facing as Premier League champions in the first place. Second, Manchester City. Third, Manchester United, because Manchester United has made some impressive signings and there is still a couple of players that are linked to. So I will give Manchester United. And the fourth, for me, it's a bit tricky, but I would like to give it to Tottenham Hotspur. Now let's talk about our last but not the least, the Premier League Men's Player of the Year. We have very strong contenders for this award, with Martin Odegaard being nominated from Arsenal. And now if you think about it, Arsenal not winning any trophy last season, it might hit them by and hit Martin Odegaard as well, and he might not get the PFA Player of the Year, but he has been absolutely impressive last season. But so has been Foden, so has been Cole Palmer, and so has been Rodri. Rodri has got the Premier League, he won the Euro, so he has been impressive as well. And for me, one of my favorite player that I am an Arsenal fan, and I really wanted Arsenal to sign him as well, Ole Watkins. He had an impressive season last year with Aston Villa, pushing them all the way to the Champions League spot with amazing goals and assists. But let's see. I like to vote for Martin Odegaard, but let's see what happens. So that's all for today's episode of Football Pundit. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more football insights and discussion. See you next time. Thank you.